Adolf Hitler was the dictator of Germany from 1933 to 1945, leading the Nazi Party. He kick-started World War II by invading Poland in 1939 and aimed to create a regime built on the idea of racial purity. Under his rule, the Holocaust took place, resulting in the horrific genocide of 6 million Jews, along with millions of others, including Romani people, disabled individuals, and political opponents. His obsession with expansion and military dominance caused widespread destruction and loss of life across Europe. Joseph Stalin, on the other hand, ruled the Soviet Union from the mid-1920s until his death in 1953. His reign was marked by intense brutality. His rule instilled fear and brought suffering to millions under his harsh policies. Joseph Stalin's policies led to the deaths of millions through executions, imprisonment, and starvation. Mao Zedong, the founding father of modern China, led the People's Republic from 1949 until his death in 1976. Like the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, were meant to transform China into a socialist powerhouse. Instead, these policies brought widespread devastation, killing between 15 and 45 million people. Pol Pot, the leader of the Khmer Rouge, ruled Cambodia from 1975 to 1979 with unimaginable cruelty. Between 1.7 to 2 million Cambodians, nearly a quarter of the population, died under Pol Pot's rule, from starvation, forced labor, and executions. His extreme vision for a communist society brought suffering on an unimaginable scale. Idi Amin, who ruled Uganda from 1971 to 1979 after a military coup, is infamous for his brutal regime. Known as the Butcher of Uganda, his dictatorship was marked by mass executions, ethnic persecution, torture, and severe economic mismanagement. Under his violent rule, an estimated 300,000 to 500,000 Ugandans lost their lives. Osama bin Laden, founder of Al-Qaeda, became globally infamous for orchestrating the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks in the United States. These attacks resulted in nearly 3,000 deaths and marked a turning point in modern terrorism, leading to a surge in global security measures and long-term geopolitical consequences. Osama bin Laden's extremist ideology fueled violent jihad against Western nations and secular Muslim governments. Under his leadership, Al-Qaeda carried out numerous deadly attacks around the globe. His ability to inspire and coordinate terrorism sparked a massive international manhunt, which ended in 2011 when U.S. Navy SEALs killed him during a raid in Pakistan. Saddam Hussein, who ruled Iraq from 1979 to 2003, his invasions of Iran in 1980 and Kuwait in 1990 led to prolonged wars and drew global condemnation. Hussein's regime was responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Iraqis. One of his most horrific acts was the 1988 chemical attack on Kurdish civilians in Halabja. In 2003, Hussein was captured by U.S. forces, leading to his eventual trial and execution. Benito Mussolini, Italy's fascist dictator from 1922 to 1943, Mussolini sought to revive Italy's former imperial glory through aggressive expansion, including invasions like the one in Ethiopia and backing Franco in the Spanish Civil War. Heinrich Himmler, one of the most notorious figures of the Nazi regime, was a central architect of the Holocaust, played a leading role in implementing Hitler's genocidal policies, orchestrating the mass murder of 6 million Jews and millions of others, including Romani people, political dissidents, and disabled individuals. His role in one of history's greatest atrocities makes him a symbol of cruelty and inhumanity. Coupled with his methodical and ruthless administrative skills, allowed the SS to efficiently execute Hitler's vision of racial purity. Himmler's SS machinery played a central role in implementing the final solution, the systematic extermination of millions of Jews and other marginalized groups in concentration camps. His propaganda efforts also fueled the Nazi narrative of racial superiority and control, which enabled widespread brutality, humiliation, and the mistreatment of millions. Augusto Pinochet ruled Chile from 1973 to 1990, after toppling President Salvador Allende in a military coup. His regime became infamous for its brutal repression, marked by widespread human rights abuses such as torture, forced disappearances, and the execution of political opponents. Thousands were detained in notorious centers like Villa Grimaldi, where they suffered horrific treatment. His legacy is stained by the severe oppression of leftist movements and the violent suppression of dissent. Pablo Escobar, the infamous Colombian drug lord, founded the Medellin cartel and became one of the most powerful figures in the global cocaine trade during the 1980s. Escobar's extreme violence and ruthless tactics included bombings, assassinations, and kidnappings. He used these methods to eliminate rivals and intimidate government officials who stood against him. Escobar's reign of terror led to the deaths of thousands, including judges, journalists, and police officers, as he maintained his iron grip over the cocaine empire.